Okay, go ahead. You can go ahead, Mom.
Okay, stop in my mouth. A lot of houses in Provo are built with basement apartments. So the upstairs has a few stairs going to it. Maybe 10 steps up to the top or 8. No, it was a small 2-bedroom place on top and then the 1-bedroom on the bottom. Mr. Brown supposedly was a BYU student, but I don't think he went very much. His wife was real nice, so when she was expecting, during the year she had a baby, and I remember the first night she came home with that baby, he wanted her to phone somebody. They didn't have a phone. I had a phone, and so he made her come upstairs and do the phoning. I remember she could barely creep upstairs. So I didn't really like him too much. And so when summer came, Dwayne and Cleona went home for the summer. Dwayne had a summer job working for Buddy Fouts, my brother-in-law. And he had his check from the VA sent to my address. So I was supposed to keep watching for it and forward it to him. After a week or so, that check was never there. And Dwayne and Cleona had no money. They were desperate. Probably they were able to borrow some money from Buddy, but they thought they were desperate for that check. And it never came. And he reported it. It seemed like it took a long time for the FBI. The FBI doesn't like it when you steal a government check. But it took a while for them to get on it because I can remember being called out of class in the fall time. And went to a small room somewhere. And I had to write my name several times because the check had been cashed with a signature on it that said Dwayne Wynn, but it wasn't his, and so he did finally get that check back. But it's hard when you have a check stolen and then you have to wait months and you have bills and you can't pay them. But they eventually decided that it was Mr. Brown that stole the check, so he turned out to not to be a good renter. So and I'd gone home for the summer again to stay with Mother. And when fall came, Vaughn had gotten married. He'd met Sherry in the meantime. And so I went to their wedding. It was in the Salt Lake Temple. And then
So what was this in the summer? What summer is
yes,
this now?
I guess maybe it was in the fall. Dang, I can't really remember. But they rented the downstairs apartment. And also I had some help upstairs because my niece by marriage, Ann Palmer, who's a cousin to my kids, she had graduated from high school and she wanted a room to stay in, and she rented, so she came and stayed with me.
Oh, and she stayed upstairs.
And she stayed upstairs
and helped with the kids.
And the kids stayed with me in my bedroom, and she had the other bedroom then. And so that was an easier year because it seemed like Vaughn paid the rent on time, and Ann paid some money for upstairs. We ate together. Sometimes she'd ask if she could make a cake mix, and so we'd have a cake around. But I noticed I make cake mixes sometimes too and eat the cake. So I thought, well, she shouldn't be eating this cake, but anyway.
Because she was even a little overweight then?
Yeah, she was a little overweight then too. But sometimes we'd go to the movie. There was a drive-in movie then, and I guess not when it got real cold, but we'd go to the movie. They sold hot dogs there. We'd buy 2 hot dogs. would eat one, and Roberta would share one. I'd break it in half. But Vaughn stayed downstairs, but sometimes he would come upstairs and play practical jokes on Anne. I don't know why, but he liked to get her upset, like putting honey on the toilet seat, which was probably not nice for me either, but I don't remember sitting on it. Maybe he knew when she went in the bathroom. She would come out of there screaming, and he would like to do things to get her mad. But she always forgave him. She's good-natured. And so that, let's see, 1, 2. It was probably after I'd been there 2 years that I went on the bus with Rob and Roberta up to Spokane, Washington, because Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, they're kind of across the state line from each other. And that's where my in-laws live, the Hovises. And we rode on the bus all the way up there. It was not a fun trip. I remember I liked to sit in the front. It seemed like the girls were happier up there and they could look out the windows better. They seemed like they were just better behaved up there. But one bus driver told us to move the back. He couldn't stand kids up there bugging him. They bugged him. Move to the back, he said, so we did. So we made that as a long trip, like about a 2-day trip, because, well, we didn't get off and stay in a motel somewhere. We just rode until we got there. They picked us up. And it was a nice trip, except Mr. Hovis was a little bit grumpy, but Mrs. Hovis was just so nice and so thrilled to see us, and did all kinds of nice things for us. Took us over to Spokane where her daughter Letha lived. And that was nice. And Letha knew about a TV show. It must have been kind of like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or something. Only it was a local show, but it was a local show for kids, and kids could come there and be in the audience, and every so often the camera would pan around to them. So we took them over there, and they got to be on TV. But I don't think we have any record of it, but they were there. And also that year, maybe it was the next year, we stayed in Provo for the summer, and they asked the girls to be on the float for the ward, and so they fixed them some kind of frilly dresses, and they were on the float, so that was nice.
Yeah.
They looked really pretty up there. And after my 3rd year of college, the college was offering a trip to Mexico. I had taken some Spanish towards my degree, and you were going to live with a Mexican family and learn a little more Spanish, and also take some other classes at an international college down there. And so I think it cost about $300. I probably borrowed the money from Mother. I could never save any money. But I went on that trip. We rode on the bus all the way to Mexico City.
Wow.
And of course, my mother tended the kids while I was gone.
Oh, that was
so
nice.
she was.
You rode from Farmington, basically, currently?
I had to meet the bus in Gallup. Although it went from Gallup to Albuquerque, so Mother drove me over there too. But I tried to convince the people at the college it's really closer and just as good a road to come to Farmington and drive to Albuquerque that way. That's closer. But no, they insisted it was
had to go Gallup.
Better go Gallup all the way back. Somebody else must have talked to them, because on the way back we did come through Farmington.
How could they go to Gallup? Well, I shouldn't
From
interrupt.
Provo they went to Gallup, and I had to meet them at Gallup, and then they went on over to Albuquerque, and then down through Los Angeles.
Yeah, I don't know how to get from Provo to Gallup without going through Shiprock.
Oh, I don't know how that was. Maybe I met him at Shiprock. That probably was. You're probably right. I probably met him at Shiprock.
Anyway.
But anyway, so that was a really great
That's
trip
a nice
for
trip.
me.
And did you say Sorensen was involved in that? You seem to know a Dr. Sorensen. Was he?
There was a history teacher I'd had at for several history classes named Delamar Jensen. He wrote some history books, but I'd like to buy some, but I think he is deceased now. But he was always good to me and seemed to talk to me and like me. And then the Spanish teacher, these two teachers from BYU went along. Basically, I guess they were our chaperones, plus when we got down there, they taught the classes, even though it was an international college. We just basically used their rooms. They were the ones that taught. You were either taking a history class or a Spanish class.
Bill, do you guys have any